Hey everybody, I am Heidelin with Austin Entertainment Management here with my co-host Swear Words. Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Heidi? What's going on, guys?
Well, we've got a super awesome topic to talk about today. I took a Mark Twain quote: find a job you enjoy doing and you'll never have to work a day in your life. And we're going to talk about why are you not doing that thing that you enjoy doing, like playing music? What's been stopping you from doing that? So, before we do that, we should talk about some events.
Oh yeah.
So, Austin Entertainment Management is the sponsor for Pharmapalooza in June, the 9th through the 11th. And so we've been interviewing all the bands that are going to play for that. And this week we've got Static Affliction that is going to be interviewed. So it's going to be awesome for you guys to meet them. They're very cool guys.
Yes.
You can go to hellisthebomb.com/pharmapalooza and you can watch all of the past interviews that we've done so far. I think we've got about 6 or 7 done so far, and we're about halfway through. So every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we release a new interview. And so definitely check that out.
Awesome.
We've got other events on our website. You can go to hellisthebomb.com/events to see what else we have going on. There's networking events that we recommend that you go to because, every conversation with a new person could be that opportunity to get you to the next spot that you've been working to get. So networking is where it's at. We want to help you out with that. And one more event that I want to mention is on the, I think it's the 17th. I didn't write it down. Hold on. Give me a second. It is the 17th. We're doing a very special monthly networking meeting. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop where you're going to find out more about building your mental muscle, which is what's going to launch us into our conversation for today. But before I get that far and explain a little bit more about this, that 2-hour workshop is going to start at 7:30 on April 17th. And Mike, you just went through it this last Monday. What did you think of that workshop?
It was crazy. No, it was really awesome actually. It helps you understand, like, down to specifics almost, what your saboteurs are and what's keeping you held back, what's keeping you stuck. For me, it helped me understand things that I literally never thought of before, because it's kind of hard to categorize yourself when you don't know the outline of what you're categorizing. So for me to learn that I am majorly a stickler in my saboteur, that was enlightening for me, because like I never put that into perspective. I never had a name for it. I never understood like why I was doing what I was doing. It was just kind of going with the flow. And I feel like that meeting helped to really get you to understand that there's methods to kind of put these things to rest or kind of silence them for yourself so you can be at your optimal as opposed to being held back. So I definitely recommend that these meetings, because it's going to open your mind a lot. And as long as you're willing to be real with yourself and kind of take advantage of what you're learning here, you can make a huge changes in your life.
So I found all out about positive intelligence at the end of January, and I have been building my mental muscle in little 10-second increments for that whole time. I've been consistent with it. It was small and little and had such impact in what I was able to get accomplished. Um, you know, stuff happens in your life. You get a phone call and it really makes you angry, and a lot of time can get wasted just draining energy out of you, angry and venting. This happened when like I was going to have an absolute meltdown. There was something that I could do to not have that response that felt a lot better, that way like I could just deal with it non emotionally and move on. When I first started my journey with life coaching, I listened a lot to Zig Ziglar, and he said the ability to control your emotions is the ability to control your paycheck. So I really took that to heart and really have been trying to figure out, like, how do you control your emotions? Like, what are you talking about? Like, stuff happens and then the emotions follow and it's just automatic, right?
Yeah.
But through my research and finding out what causes people to act and what causes people to not act, it comes back to that emotional control, to which Dr. Shazad calls that mental fitness. And it's building up that muscle and following an operating system that you can put those things aside, use them in a way that's going to help you and not hurt you, and then you can move on to the next thing. So I decided to go ahead and join as a coach with Positive Intelligence. And so therefore, we get to have these really cool conversations, and I get to share all of Dr. Shazad's research and things that he's found. Because man, like I would say 2007 was a big turning point for me in my personal life, to be able to start doing more of the things that I enjoyed doing. But in the beginning of this year has been the next big turning point. So I'm super excited that I get to share that with all of you. And so, Mike, I want to ask you, what has really been holding you back when you look back over your life and you think, what's keeping you from?
So can you hear me? You broke up a little bit. You there? Okay.
Okay, so did you hear my question?
I heard part of it. What's been keeping me?
Yeah, what's been keeping you from doing what you enjoy doing? Making music, playing music most of the time. Why aren't you doing that?
So for me, I know there's a couple of things that add up for me, but I know it's that fear of putting yourself out there. It's a fear of failure, but one of the biggest things that I feel like we face as musicians and artists is that kind of loss of stability and a loss of structure. You're not guaranteed always that paycheck. You gotta put in and put in the work for it. You gotta really bet on yourself. And sometimes I feel like that is scary for people because there's no promises. There's no, you know, I know Mr. F is going to give me a paycheck at the end of the week every Friday. I don't have to worry about what happens. But for this, it's more like you got to show up for yourself all the time, and I feel like that can scare people. So for me, it's a little bit of that. It's that fear of failure, that loss of stability, that voice inside my head that says, I don't know if you could do this. And I feel like that's where for me it comes from.
Okay, cool. So you talked on two things. We talked about the fear,
Mm-hmm.
and so what other feelings come along with that fear when you're thinking about this?
Um, I would say when it comes to the fear, you don't want to fail. You don't want to let people down. Um, you want to have like the success in it. You don't want to make mistakes, things like that. You don't want people to be mad at you. You don't want to be judged for your actions. You want to feel like free to do what you want to do, but at the same time, you're scared because you might lose everything. It's a lot. It's almost like, I don't know. It's like over analytical thoughts for this. It never ends.
Okay. I don't know if I'm the one freezing or if you're the one freezing, but I just
Oh
stayed
no.
frozen the entire time.
Yes, well, I wasn't sure what was going on at the end. But did you hear
Oh my
me?
goodness. No, well, I I heard some of that. So, I think the last thing that you were saying was, what if I let people down?
Mhm.
Did you say things after that?
I mean, that was pretty much the gist of what I was saying in the end. It's like you don't want to make those mistakes, and it's scary because you don't know how it's going to turn out. So you're afraid of stepping on toes. You're afraid of, um, like I said, letting people down, or especially like if you have a family, you have kids, like that whole loss of stability and structure for not only yourself but for them too. So I feel like there's a lot that goes into it, but it's just that inner voice, really.
And I think that, you talked a bit about the stability part of it with the fear.
Mhm.
As I was brought up, the first thing was like, okay, well, you're going to have to get a real job, not that. So suggesting that, like, you know, I was basically going to be homeless, like, if I decide to go this route, was basically like the image that was in my brain as I was trying to figure out, like, there's got to be another way.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, the voice that I'm hearing as I'm like, well, there's got to be another way, and then that voice would be like, well, there isn't. It's scary out there, and like, well, you just don't have what it takes. Like, you're just not gonna
Not good
make it,
enough. Hmm.
right? So there are 10 saboteurs, and the first one we talked a little bit about, maybe about a month ago or so on this show,
Hmm.
and that's the judge.
Yeah.
And the judge is always kind of wondering why we're not good enough. Like, when are you going to stop messing up? And, that's that voice. He doesn't just do that to you, though, personally in your own head. He also is judging other people.
Yeah.
And so that can hurt your relationships with your bandmates and the other people that you're working with as you're trying to build yourself up in the music industry. And then number three, and this is one that people don't really always realize is happening, is judging situations. So a situation comes up and it's instantly like, bad, bad, bad. This is terrible. Like the judge is always finding something wrong with the situation so that you couldn't possibly be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then he comes in with his 9 accomplices. And so you had taken the saboteur assessment, and so you were talking about the stickler being one of your higher ones.
Yeah, that was my major one.
Which, that's where a lot of like perfection, slowdowns, procrastination like comes in.
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
I think he talks about the avoider.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's so me too. I feel like that's one of the things that relates to like even with like music and stuff for me. It's like sometimes like I just avoid things that I think could be messy or not perfectly smooth or whatever. And it's like, and I know like even I mean I'm a Libra. I know this isn't music related, but like that alone, like I feel like I avoid conflict. I don't like discomfort or anything like that. And when it comes to like relationships and things like that, or anything that might lead to that. So like I know like I'm huge with the avoider and I'm huge with the stickler. So it's like a awful combo too, because one is a perfectionist and one is a runner. So it's like, like what am I doing here?
And then I think the other one you said in your top three was the pleaser.
The pleaser, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which comes to that you're like, oh, what will people think of me? Like that's the voice of the pleaser being worried about that. And when we were having this conversation earlier, we were really talking about like how this message that it's dangerous in the music industry
Mm-hmm.
really strengthens the voice of the hypervigilant.
Yeah.
Because the hypervigilant saboteur is kind of like a worrywart.
Yeah.
And will, always be anxious with, oh, well, this could happen, or I doubt myself, and so that's why this is going to happen, or I doubt my band members, and so this is why this is going to happen. So that can be really destructive to your success. Just being like afraid to take an opportunity that could be a risk. I mean, there are a lot of risks to take, but I feel like if you let this voice take over, like every risk is going to be too scary.
Yes.
Like even
Definitely.
talking to someone, like I was definitely there, like too freaked out just to go talk to a stranger. Yeah.
I know that feeling. But yeah, it's true. It's like if you keep feeding that, then it grows, it's just like anything else. It's like you keep giving your energy to it, you keep giving your energy to that, then that's what's gonna be like a normal for you. It's almost gonna be like a go-to. It's like, well, I know in these situations I usually run or I do whatever, so I'm gonna do that because that's what works for me. But never allowing yourself to see what potentially could
Right.
work.
That's safe. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right. Okay. So we were having a bit of connection issues today. So, um, the hypervigilant is also just not trusting of other individuals. As much as like they want to trust people, they're just always kind of suspicious of what the motives of the other people are.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
And so with that like voice in your ear, it makes it really difficult to collaborate with other people. I've worked with people that were definitely this saboteur ruled their life. It was in their top three. And, it was always, another weird text about like some situation that wasn't happening that they were convinced was happening.
Yeah.
And that's no fun to work with. Like, that's very difficult to work with.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's difficult to even be around at times, It's 'cause you feel suffocated. Can't do anything. Can't trust anything.
Exactly, exactly. So that's just one of the lies that this saboteur is feeding you. And what we want to really get to the bottom of as we're having these conversations over the next couple of weeks is which saboteur is this voice coming from? And how has that particular lie that you've been believing been hurting your results with music? You're even hurting your own enjoyment of music because of the judging a situation with music. Oh, well, this show is just, a little show in a little bar. There's like 5 people. Like it's no stadium. Like once I'm playing like stadiums, like then I'm really gonna be happy with what I'm doing with music.
Mhm.
You're robbing yourself of
Yeah.
all of the enjoyment that you could be having right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to feel like a job.
Hmm.
Once you find what it is that you enjoy doing, it gives you more energy. It feeds you energy when you do it.
Yeah.
So find those things that you enjoy doing that give you energy.
Don't be afraid to do them too.
And don't be afraid to do them. And as soon as one of those voices pops up that says, you can't do it, you won't do it, you're going to be bad at it, like any of these things,
Hmm. Yeah.
you want to shift from that train of thought and start using the right side of your brain where your creativity and your empathy for yourself and that the action, the right action is going to be there.
Yeah.
So that is what we're going to be talking about in that workshop on the 17th is what is that operating system, that process from I'm having all of these bad feelings. How do I change that for something good that I can use so that I can get further?
It's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be powerful.
Well, I decided that we would wrap this conversation up a little short. I don't even know how well this stream is getting across to the world today. Um, I guess you can't have good internet all the time.
Yeah.
Although I would argue I should be able to.
I feel that. I completely feel that.
All right, cool. So if you have any fears or uh, things that are holding you back from having a life of music and enjoyment in anything that you want to do in life, um, you could reach out to us. Mike and I are on Facebook, social media. You can go to the AEM Resource Center on Facebook and send us a message, and we'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Don't forget, Friday we are interviewing
Static Afflicted.
I almost forgot for a second. I was like, oh no, I forgot.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool though.
And we will see you all again back here next week, hopefully with a better connection. Wednesday at 10:30. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.